Okay, so we've faded the car, railroad tie brown on the bottom, sealed the car with dull coat, and then I started adding full strength oil, burnt umber, right along the top of the car, and then we just start pulling it down with a nice soft brush to make these rust streaks. And on this side of the car is done, and then on this side of the car I did something a little different. Before I even started weathering this car, but after I scratched the letters away, I used some blue painter's tape, just this blue painter's tape. And what I did was I masked off, this is the UP and the road number, and then this is another little section over here, and I masked those off, so once the entire car is done being weathered, I'll pull that away. It'll look just like fresh paint and fresh numbering on the car. Since it's been in service for a while, they were probably having a hard time seeing the road number on this car when it's sitting out in the yard. So they re-stenciled it, so they would have put a nice fresh coat of paint and re-stenciled that. So that's what this is going to look like when the car is all done and I pull that blue tape away. Just one other thing you can do to make your cars look more realistic. So both sides of the car have been done. This oil is still very wet, still kind of shiny. As this dries, it really starts to look good. But like I said, it's still got a little bit of a shine to it because it's wet. So then we get into the ends of the cars. Kind of the same idea with the end of the cars. I just get in there with my my smaller brush. Once again, 100%, and I'm just going to go very lightly along the top of the car. I'm not going to go excessive on the ends of the cars. Just a little bit along this seam right here. And maybe like right in here. A little more on that side. Just like that. And then once again, it's all about manipulating the oil. Once again, this brush is a nice soft brush, and you're just going to go ahead and pull that down vertically, as straight as possible. Very light strokes. Like that. And then for the brake wheel and the platform for the brake wheel, those take a lot of abuse, so I'll come in here and just dab a little bit on there, and I'll manipulate it with the other soft brush. Same idea with this on the bottom here. And then while I'm in here, I'll get the sides of the coupler pockets, and same thing on the other side, right in here. And I'm not trying to be perfect right now. You're going to come in here with your soft brush and make this look a lot better. So, soft brush, and we're just going to go ahead and work that in on the brake wheel, just like that. Doesn't take very much, and then we're going to work that right in on the bottom of the car here, just like so. I don't know if you can see that. And then right along the bottom, the coupler pocket, we'll just kind of give that some texture under here on the front. And I try to avoid getting excessive paint on my couplers because it could really affect, sorry, I was off camera there, but it could really affect their operation. So I don't get in here and once I hit it with the airbrush and get some railroad tie brown on them, I kind of leave them alone. Because there's nothing worse than a coupler that doesn't work right. Then you got to change it out, pull the car off the layout. So I don't get in there and try to make the couplers look perfect. I just give them a coat of railroad tie brown, and that's usually pretty good enough for me. Okay, so you kind of see how that works. Now the other thing that I do with these cars, which is kind of something I picked up somewhere, I'm not really sure where, but I use some odorless mineral spirits for a thinner. The stuff can be pretty strong, so you definitely want to get the odorless stuff. And what I do is I put just a little bit in a plastic cup. And I'm going to take my fine brush, or you could use this brush if you wanted to. And what I do with this is very simple. When this car has another car hooked to it, the wheels from the car in front of or behind, whichever way we're going here, splatters stuff all on the insides of the cars, on the ends of the box cars, inside the hoppers, your tank cars. So it doesn't take much to make this effect, but you definitely don't want to use full strength. So all I do is I just wet my brush in the odorless mineral spirits. I just wet it, and then I pick up a little bit of paint. So it's almost not full strength, but definitely not fully diluted. And then I'll use a toothpick. And I'll just come in here and I'll splatter that inside the car. And just remember, a little bit goes a long way. Because what you want is just, you're looking for the effect of that splatter that comes up off the wheels in front of the other car or behind. Like that. You can kind of see that splatter up inside of there. And now with diluted burnt umber, I'm just going to get in here and get the rest of the brake rigging. Just kind of get it dirty. Same thing inside here. Just kind of give it some color. I don't know how easy you can see that in there, but you can see the splatter. And that's the effect I'm looking for. Just like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side of the car. Spin that around. This time we'll go ahead and put the diluted burnt umber in here first. Just kind of get that inside the car. Like that. And we'll come back in with some full strength. We'll go ahead and get the platform a little on the bottom of this one, maybe at the hinges, all these little rivet points, and along the top of the car. Like that. Let's just go ahead and work that oil in real quick. Just kind of lightly pull that oil down. Give us a streaking effect off the roof. Okay. Alright, just going to do the splatter on this one. I just kind of position this about where the wheel would be. Just kind of splatter it up in there. Gives a pretty believable effect once it's dry. Okay, and then along the bottom of the car, we're going to go ahead and use some full strength oil. And usually they wrap these things pretty hard to get everything out, so we're just going to give it some dings and dents on the bottom of the car. Then you want to come in and you want to actually manipulate that with a softer brush. Same thing on this one. And I'm keeping this with the flow as if, you know, gravity is pulling it from here down. Definitely wouldn't go side to side on this. You want to make sure you keep this uniform with the way things would flow in the real world. Just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll come in with some diluted burnt umber. And just remember, the only color I've used so far is just the burnt umber. I haven't used anything else yet. Go ahead and add some along the bottoms here. Along the bottoms. Like that. Then I'll get in here with my soft brush and kind of texture that. And a couple of pockets on this side. Kind of like that. Okay, and we'll do the other side real quick for you. So we'll get in here full strength and just put it anywhere. I just want to kind of have it around the bottom here is where it would really collect, where they bang on this thing to get all the grain or whatever they're using the car for at the time. Just like that. We'll come in here with a soft brush and we'll just go ahead and poke at it and streak it, kind of like that. Kind of like so, and then we'll come in with some diluted burnt umber. Just kind of get the rest of these little pockets in here. Give them a little bit of color. And then once this is dry, in my next video, we'll get in here with some pastel chalks and give it that nice rusty, dusty look. But just remember, this has to take at least 24 hours to dry enough so you can start putting some chalk on it. Otherwise you could ruin what you've done already, which isn't that big of a deal. You can just dilute it down, and it's one nice thing about oil. When you're working with oil paint, you have a long time, a nice long time to work with it. That's what really makes oil paint on models one of the most appealing things for me, is that you have a really long time that you can work with this stuff. Okay, so both sides of the car, the ends, are done enough for now. I might manipulate them a little more, but I'm going to let this first layer of oil dry. Real quick on the roofs, this is going to be full strength right along the tops here, and I dab this on. Try to get it up underneath the walkways, just like this. This car's been around for a long time, so the roof on these cars is pretty beat up. Just like that. And we're going to get in here, like I said, once some of this sets up and dries over the next, probably tomorrow, I'll be able to get in here with some different colored chalks, and really gives you the nice rust effects. But this is just the base coat of oil, so just keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and do the other side real quick. Right now I'm just getting this on here. I'm going to come in here with a sponge here, and I'll show you how, I'll show you how I make this look a little better before I let it set up. Okay, just like that. Now in the cosmetic sections of, well, I get these at Walmart. You have these sponges. They come in a pack of, I don't know, 50, maybe 100, and these are used for makeup. But when you break these apart, they work really good for doing rust effects and adding texture to your models, and they're really cheap. So one of these packs that I have, they go a long way. So you can cut these down to size, you know, whatever you need. If you only need a small piece, for example, to do the roof, that's a little too narrow. So what I'll do is I'll come in and just cut it so it's a little wider, and it'll work good right in there. And what I'll do is I just come in, and that's all I'm going to do is dab on this. And that's going to give me a nice, rough, rusty texture to work with. I don't know if you can see how that has no longer any shiny or brush strokes in it. It just kind of makes it look more like rust. And we want to just lightly dab on that and give us that bumpy, rusty look, just like that. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. You can see how that works. Just like that. And you can work it up underneath the ladder, or I should say the walkway. And come back in and do some more with the sponge. Just like that. And we'll get it up underneath the walkway. Re-dab that. There you go. Just like so. So we've got the base coat of oil, all burnt umber so far. Nice thing about this oil paint is when you do streak, it almost fades. It's not so sharp. Really gives it a really nice effect. So give that a try, and then in the next video we'll go ahead and get in here and do a little more weathering with some chalks, and then we'll also go ahead and finish up the top and get the walkway done. Alright, hope you enjoyed this so far. Thanks for watching.